Isekai.
Rebirth of the Malicious Empress of Military Lineage. Chapter 181, Convicting the Crime. The pattern around the safety pendant was very special and one could recognize it from a glance. Lu Ling's expression thus became very ugly and he asked, "One dare to ask your highness Prince Ruai, where does the safety pendant on one's waist came from?" Shen Qiu looked at Lu Ling strangely. Lu Ling was one who knew his boundaries and would be very calm outside, however he rashly asked Prince Ruai and this was simply too abrupt. Prince Ruai was in a good mood and came over to greet and it was one's honor. One had to see if Prince Ruai was willing to answer when one asked Prince Ruai a question. Unexpectedly today Prince Ruai would give him face and untied the safety amulet. He spun it in his hands and said with a lazy smile, It is given to me by a young lady." Shen Qiu. Prince Ruai's words were a lot today. Why did he need to bring up these romance matters to both of them? Shen Qiu felt awkward as he felt that one would die faster if one knew some stuff, but he was not at all interested in Prince Ruai's private matters, so why did Lu Ling ask such stuff? Lu Ling's face became paler and he could not help but stared at the safety pendant in Prince Ruai's hands. However, Prince Ruai only took a glance at him before hanging the safety pendant back on his waist and said to Shen Qiu, "This prince still have some things and would not be chatting more with Vice General Shen. If Vice General Shen is free in future, do come over to the residence of Prince Ruai for a visit." He continued with a smile, but not a smile. This prince really wants to exchange notes with Vice General Shen. Finishing, he pulled the reins and the horse lifted its hoofs before suddenly leaving. Shen Qiu and Lu Ling stood stunned on the same spot. Shen Qiu muttered, "Could it be that this Prince Ruai want to draw me to his side?" Without any rhyme or reason, why did Prince Ruai want him to visit the residence of Prince Ruai? Shen Qiu dared to say that one feared that Prince Ruai did not say such things to the princes of Mingqi before. Although his martial arts were indeed outstanding, it could be that Prince Ruai had taken into fancy his martial arts skills. Shen Qiu felt self-contented when he suddenly Lu Ling's unusual expression. Feeling that it was somewhat strange, he asked, "Younger Biao brother, what is wrong with you? Are you not feeling well? Why is your expression so ugly?" Lu Ling regained to his senses and forcefully smiled, "Nothing, let's go back." "All right." Shen Qiu looked as Prince Ruai disappeared at the end of the streets and said, "It seemed that Prince Ruai likes that young lady a lot and actually carry the love token on his waist. One does not know which family's young lady is that fortunate. One fear that she would be awakened in her dreams." Shen Qiu's heart was magnanimous but did not discover on the route back. Lu Ling's steps were staggering. It seemed that he had been attacked very hard. As expected by everyone, Huang Fuhao's assassination in Mingqi had brought a lot of trouble. Although the Crown Prince's clique had been striving for the Crown Prince's innocence, but there was no movements from the investigation bureau. It seemed that the Crown Prince would be imprisoned for a long time. Emperor Wenhua's action also gave the court officials a new impression. The tea cools when the person left. When the Crown Prince was imprisoned, some people saw that it was not right and in a turn of a head, quickly turned towards another prince. The situation in court changed but it was not mentioned at all. The winds at night were cold. When one went out with Lu Tan in the daytime to buy fabrics for the new year, Lu Zuyin said that both of them were young ladies had to have more clothes, thus they almost went around the entire Ding capital. When they returned to the residence, Shen Miao was so tired. After instructing Jings and Guyu to draw the water and after Shen Miao came out from her bathe, she saw that there was an additional person in the room. When Zi Jingxing turned around, he saw Shen Miao wearing her middle garments and one hand holding onto a towel, drying her hair. The young female was different from 2 years ago. Although her stature was still petite, but just like a bud that bloomed and was waiting to be released, the scent was very fragrant. Her middle garments was slightly damp and one could almost seem to see through the material and under the light. Her lips were red and her teeth was white and eyes seemed to be covered with a layer of moisture. Her hair was black and wet, sticking to her face, and if one looked down, one could see the snow white. Zi Jingxing looked away. Before Shen Miao could even react, she saw a thick cloak thrown towards her and almost hit her. Holding on to the cloak, Shen Miao said angrily. "What are you doing?" "Wear it." Zi Jingxing frowned. "No one would care if you catch a cold." Shen Miao was angry. This person would always make good words sound so hateful, but she indeed felt somewhat cold and covered herself with the cloak. Zi Jingxing then turned his head over and swept his eyes on her, seeing that Shen Miao almost did not care that there was a male in the room and continued to dry her hair normally. Zi Jingxing's lips could not help but twitched. However, one could not blame Shen Miao for not having this thought. In her previous life, she loved Fu Ziyu, but from the beginning till the end it was her own wishful thinking and the couple was not harmonious at all. When Fu Ziyu was acting towards her, the very most he would be grateful and respectful. As for those appearances that make one's heart jump, there was none. Afterwards she became the Empress and the most she faced was the 3,000 beauties in the palace and saw eunuchs the most. Thus she did not find that there was anything wrong with this appearance of hers. As she dried her hair, she walked over to sit down. Seeing Zi Jingxing looking at her thoughtfully, she did not know why but her face warmed up and she asked, "What are you looking at?" "Thought that you would not be shy at all," Zi Jingxing said lazily. "Fortunately not." One can be relieved. Shen Miao felt unfathomable. Zi Jingxing pinched her chin and asked her as he looked at her, "What are you looking for me for?" Today it was Shen Miao who instructed Kong Yang to think of ways to get Zi Jingxing over, and since there is someone in the room that could pass the message, it was a waste not to use. However, Kong Yang was really very useful as Zi Jingxing was here now. Shen Miao's hands stopped drying her hair and she hesitated before asking, "Gentleman Pei had not returned my letters for a long time. Help me to inquire about the residence of Prince Ting. Did Gentleman Pei fall into mishap?" When Shen Miao said Gentleman Pei, there was somewhat of a hesitation. She did not take the initiative to tell Zi Jingxing about Pei Lang's matter, but with Zi Jingxing's means and methods, one feared that he had long knew the relationship between Pei Lang and her clearly. Pei Lang previously would have written to her every 3 to 5 days and would pass on some information about the residence of Prince Ting, but these few days there was no letters. Shen Miao guessed that something had happened, and if there was no Zi Jingxing, she would have directly went to look for Feng's Yan pawn shop. Since Zi Jingxing is around and Ji Yushu was one with Zi Jingxing, then she could directly entrust it to Zi Jingxing. Hearing that, Zi Jingxing's gaze paused and he looked at her meaningfully. "Pei Lang?" he said faintly. "You really care for him?" Shen Miao frowned. "I am not a person who destroy the bridge after crossing the river." Even though she was dissatisfied with Pei Lang in her previous life, in this life Pei Lang was after all standing at the same side with her, thus she was unable to do any betraying things. Zi Jingxing nodded casually. "All right, I will inquire about it for you." Shen Miao. Why did it feel that Zi Jingxing was just perfunctory speaking about it? Both of them were silent, making the atmosphere a bit awkward. Shen Miao changed the conversation topic and asked, "One heard that the Crown Prince was not released yet. What is the situation in Tea Palace now?" Zi Jingxing gave her a glance and said, "Don't worry, the Crown Prince is finished." Shen Miao was startled. What? The Emperor of Qian country had already gave that old emperor a final threat. If he does not deal with the Crown Prince and avenge Huang Fu Hao, he would send troops to attack Mingqi. Zi Jingxing stared at the cup, watching the leaves sink down, and one was unable to hear any happiness or anger in his voice. At this juncture, the old emperor dare not take the risk, Shen Miao said, had already sent the final threat. Could it be? But, she lifted her head and looked at Zi Jingxing. For such words to be spoken so quickly, it seemed that the Emperor of Qian did not investigate the reason behind it and take the Crown Prince as the scapegoat. Does he not want to catch his son's true murderer? Shen Miao's thoughts were that even though one could guess this result, but she did not expect that it would come that quickly. After all, it was not a small matter when a person died. No matter what, the Emperor of Qian country had to investigate it, and Emperor Wenhu and the other party had to be in deadlock for some time. Zi Jingxing's lips twitched. Naive, Shen Miao. It had been a long time since someone called her naive. She could hear Zi Jingxing continue speaking. The imperial family only cared about the result, and the truth is not important. After all, Huang Fu Hao cannot come back to life. He placed with the teacup in his hands and said faintly, the Qian country had lost a crown prince and a princess. The Qian country might not have any other suitable princes, and the court in Qian country must be in chaos due to this matter. The Qian country is vigilant with Ming-Chi and naturally would want Ming-Chi to pay the same price. No matter if the crown prince is the murderer or not, the crown prince must die. Xi Jingxing's smile was indifferent. Only with the crown prince's death, Ming-Chi and the Qian country can be even. Shen Miao's heart took a slight breath of cold air. Xi Jingxing's words indeed unfeeling, but it tore through the cloth that was covering the surface. Ming-Chi's and the Qian country's power were comparable, and now that the Qian country had lost a crown prince, the fight between the princes would only throw the court in chaos. If Ming-Chi remained the same, it would only make others angry. In any case, the first reaction of one who was in the mud was not to climb out but to pull someone beside together in. All the so-called alliances that share the gains and pains were nothing but bundled interests, and these interests were all carefully calculated. One feared that Emperor Wenhua had already saw this point clearly, so very quickly the crown prince had been a weight that was required to balance this unfair situation. Ming-Chi had a crown prince, thus the crown prince was wiped out. No matter how much one could not bear, because of the country, one had to give it up. Shen Miao was silent and did not speak. Xi Jingxing laughed instead. One arrow, two eagles. You did a good job, Shen Miao said. I am only responsible for the idea. You were the one who contributed in the effort. This act was thought out by Shen Miao, and Xi Jingxing was responsible for perfecting it. Xi Jingxing had many talented subordinates, and among these, they could calculate the crown prince's and Huang Fu Hao's route and punctually acted out the entire performance, and all these was not completed simply. Shen Miao felt that it was Xi Jingxing that should be credited the most. Xi Jingxing gently smiled and did not deny it. After speaking for a while, Shen Miao's hair had dried and she yawned twice. When Xi Jingxing saw it, he started to leave. When he was leaving, Shen Miao suddenly stopped him but hesitated for a moment before asking, "Did Princess Rongzin look for you recently?" "No." Xi Jingxing raised his eyebrows. "Then, what do you plan to do?" Xi Jingxing did not turn around as he walked towards the window and threw out three words: "Not doing anything." Shen Dongling and Wang Bai was locked in the most inner part of the prison. One did not know if Emperor Wenhu intended to show fairness or not to arrest people indiscriminately, as he did not make a move on the other people in the Wang family. However, this did not mean that the situation was any better. The residence of the Minister of Land only had a single sprout, Wang Bai, and if anything happened to Wang Bai, one feared that the Wang family was finished. The jailer who came and went did not treat them any better. There were many powerful and high-ranking people that were locked up in this prison. Once one lost power, the whole game was lost. Not to say that the Minister of Land was not a high-ranking position, thus it was not worth to give them face. Shen Dongling felt unbearable. Just a few days back she was still carrying the dream of flying into the skies, but did not know that one would be like this. Initially, when one was comfortable in riches and honor, she and Wang Bai treated each other respectfully and harmoniously, but when the accident happened, all the hidden cracks and contradictions from the savvy Wang Bai and the equally savvy Shen Dongling started to be exposed. Wang Bai criticized Shen Dongling and said that the idea of appreciating incense was thought out by Shen Dongling, who knew that now they were both locked up in prison. Wang Bai was no fool, and since the crown prince was not rescued, how could they be any better off? The most important thing was that it was fortunate that the crown prince was the heir apparent to the throne, and there was still the empress that would help run errands for him. Other than the money that could not be exposed, what else did the Wang family have? Shen Dongling could only defend herself. How could she have known that Huang Fuhao would unfathomably die? This entire thing was a conspiracy. Someone had schemed against the crown prince and also counted both of them in. Shen Dongling was innocent. Today a jailer came over and gave them meals that were different than usual. The food was very fresh and there were even meat mixed in it. Shen Dongling was somewhat happy as the prison food that they ate these days were all smashed, else they were difficult to be eaten. Thus she was somewhat surprised when she saw such a sumptuous meal and asked, "Older brother, is this for us?" That jailer glanced at her and smiled strangely. "Yes, it is for you all." Wang Bai however seemed to understand something and his expression became ugly. He asked, "Older brother, what is the meaning of this?" "Oh, finally someone who understands." That jailer then said, after finishing this last meal, "It is better to be on one's way." The chopsticks in Shen Dongling's hands fell down and she could almost not believe her ears. It was Wang Bi that sat down on the floor as if he had long understood. He seemed to have been exhausted out of all his energy in a short amount of time and could no longer stand up. "Older brother, what is going on?" Shen Dongling violently got up. She could not believe this fact and her voice became distorted and sharp as she asked, "When can we be let out? We are accused wrongly. The assassination of the Crown Prince of Qian country really has nothing to do with us. After being imprisoned for such a long time, isn't matters already investigated clearly? When can we be released to return home?" She said very fast and urgently, as if this could dispel the fear in her heart. It was Wang Bai's first time seeing Shen Dongling losing control of herself. He just stared at Shen Dongling and did not speak a single word. That jailer's brows frowned as he heard Shen Dongling's shout and took 2 steps back before said annoyed, "Not to say you too. Even His Highness the Crown Prince's crime was confirmed, and you two still speak of innocence." Wang Bai was stunned and asked, "His Highness the Crown Prince had pleaded guilty?" The jailer snorted and said, "Isn't it so? No matter if you are guilty or not, it is considered your fortune to be able to be together with His Highness the Crown Prince. Anyways." The jailer laughed somewhat maliciously, "Even if you are innocent, it is not a small offense for the Wang family to illegally sell salt." Wang Bai's entire body trembled. He tried to control it as he asked, "This, how does one know about this?" "How do I know?" The jailer waved his hands and said impatiently, "The rumors outside were like so." He then glared at Wang Bai. One heard that when others were ordered to confiscate the Wang family, the gold in the Wang family required to be brought out by boxes and an entire afternoon was used to carry them out. The riches was so much that one would not be able to use it all in this lifetime. Gentleman Wang need to think of anything else and just eat this bowl of rice before reincarnating to a good family in the next life. Shen Dongling's entire heart stank straight down. If one said that previously there was still a strain of luck, then now with the sale of illegal salt being exposed, then she and Wang Bai really did not have a single road out. Currently the national treasury was empty and Emperor Wenhua was indeed not well off, but the Wang family was in the business of illegally selling salt and it was an overflowing business, so how would one not be able to disciplining them? Now that the Wang family assets were confiscated, one feared that not one of the Wang family could run away from it. Shen Dongling only felt that the skies and earth were spinning around. She had tried all means and ways to exchange marriage with Shen Yu to find a good family for her to settle in, and she was very satisfied with the Wang family. Even though the Wang family was not powerful, but they had money and there was no shortage of food and clothes, thus days would only get better. However, how did one get imprisoned and the riches disappeared like floating smoke and passing clouds? She could not resign herself to it. If she did not come out this idea for Wang Bai, could it be that she would be able to escape this calamity? Wang Fuhao would not die and the Crown Prince would not be accused unjustly and they all would not be innocent victims. Why was she possessed that day to think about scheming Shen Miao? She clearly knew that those who went against Shen Miao would not end well, so why did she personally go into Inn and get her head broken and blood flowing? Shen Miao? Yes, Shen Miao. For this matter to get to this state, Shen Miao definitely had a hand in it. In the background, Shen Dongling suddenly had a thought and took a bracelet from her wrist. Almost all of her jewelry was used to bribe the jailer, and this bracelet was Wang Furen who gave it to her when she married in. It was very valuable that one of it is enough to buy a remote shop front. She placed the bracelet in the hands of the jailer and said anxiously, "Trouble older brother to do me a favor. Look for my 5th younger sister and pass a message to her, saying that I have something to say to her." She said earnestly, "Words when one is on the deathbed always comes from the heart." One hoped that older brother would help me one last time. She was born with a good appearance and with such a pitiful expression and tears in her eyes. The jailer's heart softened quite a bit. He took the bracelet and said, "Since it is the case, I will help you this time. However, I would only be responsible to pass the message. One cannot guarantee if 5th Shen young lady would come or not." Shen Dongling quickly said her thanks. Wang Bai laughed coldly and his expression was somewhat beaten. He did not know he was laughing at himself or laughing at Shen Dongling when he said, "Could it be that you think that Shen Miao will come and save you? I do not know if she will come or not." Shen Dongling's expression changed from the weak one she showed to the jailer to one with some viciousness. "If she is willing to save me, I do not fear of drooping one's head and being insignificant. However, if she have no heart to save me, then for what reason does the eldest household of the Shen family be able to live in peace? Since we are all a family, naturally one has to go through the same difficulties." Just like Shen Dongling had thought, the jailer really brought her message to Shen Miao, but Shen Miao was blunt and interrupted the conversation, indicating that she was not willing to go, and even instructed Jings to pass a heavy pouch to the jailer. The Shen family did not even have a residence anymore, and only the eldest household of the Shen family was still standing firm in the Ding capital. 2 years ago Shenzhen was expelled from the Ding capital, and one did not think that 2 years later he would return again. Not only that, as compared to 2 years ago, Shenzhen's attitude was tougher than it was 2 years ago and no longer modest, but others was unable to catch any leverage on him, and even Emperor Wenhua had to be somewhat polite to him. One was a prisoner and the other was a value military commander. In any case, the jailer would not choose the criminal and defend the general. The jailer then left. Shen Miao sat in front of the dressing mirror as Jings combed her hair and asked, "This servant thought that young lady would go and take a look at 3rd young lady." Guyu glared at her. "Why should young lady see her? After all, the 2nd and 3rd household of the Shen family have nothing to do with us at all. Moreover, they had committed a crime of death, and if young lady went to see her for no reason, what if others think more of it and implicate young lady?" Jings stuck out her tongue. Previously young lady also saw 2nd young lady and eldest young lady for the last time, right? Shen Dongling is not an ordinary person. Shen Miao heard both of them arguing and said, "Dug a pit for me on purpose. I will not jump into it." "Dug a pit?" Jings's face changed to one of horror. Does young lady meant to say that 3rd young lady want to harm young lady? One must have a heart to defend against others. Shen Miao said lightly. Among the daughters in the Shen residence, Shen Yu and Shen King were spoiled by their mothers, but the viciousness in their heart was not deep. Most likely it was because of their young age that they were unable to see some things clearly. However, Shen Dongling was different. Since young Shen Dongling and Wan Yi Niang was suppressed by Ren Wan Yun and her birth father, Shen Gui, was also one who had a did-not-care personality. Thus for Shen Dongling to survive such an environment, she had to be tougher than the average person. Staying in the courtyard for 10 over years and making Ren Wan Yun lower her guard on her was enough to prove this point. As for such enemies, Shen Miao never dared to underestimate. If Shen Yu and Shen King suffered a heavy blow, they would first panic, but one feared that Shen Dongling would seize the last opportunity to scheme. As long as she is not death, she would be able to calculate how to get what she want till the last moment. Seeing Shen Dongling's cold treatment to her father, Shen Miao did not believe that Shen Dongling would have any emotions or feelings for her. Guyu also said long-windedly, "Don't know what is she thinking about. She is already in prison and one fear that she cannot do anything now. No need to worry. As long as I do not go, nothing would happen." Shen Miao appeased them. If she wants to beg me for help, it would be useless for me to go since I cannot help. If she wants to drag me into the water, it would naturally be helpless since I am not going to see her. Jings nodded her head continuously. Yes, it is right not to go. Shen Miao's eyes hang down as she felt one matter was very strange. The Crown Prince and Wang Bai was naturally imprisoned due to the matter of Huang Fuhao, but Emperor Wenhua's conviction was passed down so fast. Other than the urging of the Emperor of Qian country, one feared that it was due news of the sale of illegal salt. Emperor Wenhua could not tolerate people who seek wealth under his eyes. Not even his own sons. With the urging of the Emperor of Qian country and Emperor Wenhua's anger, the decision was made that quickly. It's just, how did the news about the illegal salt spread out? Was it done by Zi Jingxing? She started to think hard. In the imperial palace, outside Yangzhen Dian, the Empress had been kneeling in the courtyard for the entire afternoon. From when the day broke in the morning, she had been kneeling, and it was useless when the servants came to persuade. Now it is already in the afternoon and the winter days were cold and ice had formed on the ground. After kneeling for a day, as there was no cushion underneath, it was easy for one's knees to get cold and one feared that even one's body would be stiff. The sun appeared in the skies, and even though there were no problems with the Empress's body usually, at this moment, large drops of sweat were rolling down. She gritted her teeth and did not speak a single word as she silently knelt and looked forward, as if she would faint the next moment. The palace servant beside persuaded, "Your ladyship, it is better to return first. One fear that His Majesty is busy with matters, so why is there a need for your ladyship to harm one's body? It is not good to catch a cold in such a cold day. Ben Gong wants to kneel." The Empress's words were firm. "Will kneel until His Majesty changes one's mind." When the eunuch passed the Empress's words to Emperor Wenhua's ears, Emperor Wenhua erupted in fury. "Then let her kneel. Let her wishes die before Zen changes one's mind." Ever since the confession of the Crown Prince's crimes, the Empress wanted to personally see Emperor Wenhua to plead, but Emperor Wenhua did not even face her at all. The Empress was worried about the Crown Prince and did not have other choice but to kneel at the courtyard outside Yangzhen Dian, thinking that once she had knelt for a long time, because of appearance, Emperor Wenhua would let her in. The Empress knew that the Crown Prince had committed a serious crime. If one were to talk about Huang Fuhao's matter, people with discerning eyes could see there was something wrong with the matter, thus Emperor Wenhua was still protecting his son. However, with the illegal sale of salt with the Huang family, the remaining guilt in his heart had disappeared. Currently Emperor Wenhua was angry and hated the Crown Prince. How would he still be able to listen to the Empress's advice? The Empress also had no other ideas. After being husband and wife with Emperor Wenhua for so many years, she was very clear what Emperor Wenhua was thinking. But the Crown Prince was her only son, and she was willing to even kneel for her entire life for her only son. So what did one day matter? Just as things were a deadlock, one heard a chuckle behind and someone walked over with a sinister glamour, clad in a peach red gold embroidered robe. The robes were bright as she looked at the Empress. "Why is older sister kneeling here? Give this younger sister a fright." And one thought that older sister is greeting this younger sister in a big bow. In the future, one must not make such a joke again. The Empress gritted her teeth as she looked at her. This was consort Zhujian. Honestly speaking, the Empress was suspicious that the matter of the Crown Prince illegally selling salt was related to the Prince Zhu and Prince Jing. After all, once the Crown Prince died, both fathers would lose an enemy. It was just that there was no evidence, thus she could not voice it out, but Consort Zhujian had the ability to add fuel to the fire. Consort Zhujian smiled prettily and asked, "Why is older sister not entering? Could it be that one had done something wrong and is currently kneeling and asking His Majesty for forgiveness? Why not this younger sister go in and intercede for older sister?"